Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Carl Lissick. I represent Drive Clean Indiana, and welcome to the Indiana Clean School Bus Consortium webinar. We are going to be talking about some updates that are going on here in Indiana. We've got a great webinar that's planned for you today. So we'll have Mr. Dave Dorsett from Curlin School Bus, also the Drive Clean Indiana president, Mr. Tony Maeda from US EPA, and Mr. Sean Seals, co-chair from IDEM and co-chair of the Indiana Clean School Bus Coalition, will give you some updates on some of the grant programs that are happening here in Indiana. So, today during the webinar, please mute yourself, and if you have questions, please put those questions in the chat, and then like after the presentation that Dave gives, we'll have the opportunity, and then likewise when Tony gives his comments and Sean will have the opportunity to open up for discussion. So again, thank you for being on today, and this webinar is being recorded. So we have a lot of schools, school transportation managers that do watch this at off hours. And again, we know school is in session. We know a lot of you are so busy, and we're just bringing this information to you as a resource. So again, if you have questions, you have suggestions on upcoming webinars, please reach out, and we'd love to help you with that. But without further ado, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Drive Clean Indiana and who we are. We are the state's designated clean cities and communities program. So we cover all 92 counties here in the state of Indiana, and you can see what our mission and our impact is. But we are here to be a resource for you on any of your clean transportation activities, and put you together with potential resources that might help you in making a decision on implementing clean transportation in your school. So next slide, please. So I'd like to introduce a friend, an ally, and just a great resource for our state with Clean School Bus. And Dave Dorsett, again, represents Curlin School Bus and Leasing, and also is our board president for Drive Clean Indiana. And we are having some technical difficulties, so Dave won't be coming on camera. But Dave, please go ahead with your presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Carl, and thanks everyone for joining this morning. As Carl said, I am with Curlin Bus Sales, and we are a Thomas-built bus dealer here in Indiana. A little bit about myself. Next slide, please. Regional account manager for Curlin Bus Sales, cover mainly the southern part of the state. However, I'm also the EV account manager for the entire state for Curlin Bus Sales. 12 years of experience in school bus transportation in the industry, and as well as Carl mentioned, I am the Drive Clean Indiana board president 1 year in, and with those resources and being able to be a part of that, all the alternative fuels has been a blessing for us in our industry. Next slide, please. A little bit about Curlin Bus Sales, just briefly. Long time, fourth generation family owned business. 1927, Russell Curlin founded Curlin Bus Motor Company. In 1962, Ed Curlin turned into a Thomas-built bus dealership. From there, our dealer network started in 1963, and we are a longest time dealer for Thomas-built buses in the country. Have several awards, including the President's Club Award, Dealer of the Year awards, and for over 60 years, as I mentioned, the fourth generation for Curlin Bus Sales and a Curlin family-owned business, something to be very, very proud of for our standpoint as a dealer for Thomas-built buses here right in the state of Indiana. Next slide, please. Just briefly to talk about alternative fuels and emissions in the school bus industry in general. There are four brands, basically: a propane engine, a gas engine, a diesel engine, and then our electric EV that came about in 2019 to the state of Indiana. The EPA emissions for us shows very well in statistics back even before the EV came about. that diesel is, as far as the low emissions, carbon monoxide, and rates highly for us as the number one product for the state of Indiana and for the country as far as emission goes. Next slide, please. Just to kind of break that down for you in Indiana and in the country, 80% of our school buses in the market in the state of Indiana are a diesel engine. Approximately 90% of those school buses nationwide are diesel buses. Everybody thinks diesel is a bad product, a dirty product. But if you can see where we've come over the years, 60 current school buses today, based upon a statistic from 2002, 60 buses are as clean or cleaner than what one bus was in 2002. And the miles per gallon increases are approaching double. We see a lot of school buses in the state of Indiana running on diesel to be a 10 to 12 mile to a gallon bus. And that goes back 3 or 4 years back of a 2022, 2023 bus is starting to see really, really good mileages as well as total cost of ownership. But however, the diesel we feel in our industry is still a very, very clean alternative fuel or an option in the fuel as far as what we are promoting and selling here in the state of Indiana, and not as well as across the country. Next slide, please. However, the powertrain future, emissions are going to change here in 2027 for us. Cummins has two really good options, and then we feel that our third option is the electrification. Cummins's platform a B7.2 diesel is coming out, as well as a gas octane B6.7 engine is coming out in early 2026. We have been able to, as Curlin, purchase a demo bus that we will be receiving in the near future to share with a customer base here in Indiana that is the gas engine. We don't have a lot of data, as that is a new product for Cummins that is going to be put in a Thomas school bus for us. And then the third option, obviously, is our Thomas Julie electric school bus, which we have over 60 in the state of Indiana running, doing very, very well for us. And we'll get into a little more of that here in another slide. But those are the three powertrains that we are looking for here in the future for the state of Indiana as well as across the country. Next slide, please. Jumping right in, there's the two platforms. The B series, which is an advanced diesel that meets the 2027 emissions, which high efficiency, low emissions, and multiple fuels, which brings us to the gasoline engine. Next slide, please. Jump right in on the Cummins 7.2. Will launch in the 2027 for the emissions, bringing advanced technology. There is several different criteria there. Improved oil drain intervals for lower TCO, which is your total cost of ownership, and then there's your horsepower and your foot pounds available. Target applications for Cummins is pickups and delivery, and obviously school buses. Vocational shuttle bus RVs will see that same engine, which will replace the diesel engine that is on the platform today. Next slide, please. There's just some specifications for you to kind of get information on that engine. Very comparable to what is on the in the market today. However, just a cleaner, more horsepower, more torque. Same warranties as well with this engine. And for us in the school bus industry, we're really excited about this diesel engine. Next slide, please. And then it brings us to the gas engine, which is the octane engine. A lot of data not here yet. We will launch in early 2026. Orders can be taken on this bus. However, as I said, we are purchasing a demo to get some more data, some more research, and the miles per gallon, what the longevity looks like for this. Based off of the diesel engine, they're just taking the diesel engine and putting a different head on this engine to bring it to the gas platform, the octane platform. Again, targeting the same type of industry, the pickup and delivery, the school buses, the vocational shuttle bus, and the RV. So it's going to be available to most of the industry in the state of Indiana. The biggest thing is it's not going to have the after treatment system. It has kind of a built-in compact and mounts directly to the turbocharger piece. So next slide, please. Talk a little bit about our electric. The electric has been big for us for the last 5 years. Like I said, we've bumped that 53 buses to a little over 60 buses in the state of Indiana. There's a lot of data there. The biggest one is in the Type C market for us, which is a Polk data report that comes out for us throughout the year. Thomas built buses, our grand total is well over that 1375 mark. This was the last data report that we had. Grand total in 2024 right at 1,500 electric school buses. The electric school bus is a proven for us. It is very, very efficient, very, very good on the total cost of ownership for school districts, and it's zero emissions. And Thomas built buses, Curlin Bus Sales can say that our bus that is out there on the market, running the highways, putting miles on today, is a zero emission bus, no aftermarket fuel fire heaters. We heat and cool everything right on our bus. Very, very good product for us, something we're very, very proud of. It is a manageable transportation for school districts today. And then next slide, please. We'll go through a little bit of advantages and disadvantages for those buses. The advantages, obviously, is the zero emissions, which we talked about. Health benefits for drivers, thousands of gallons of fuel saved annually, predetermined routes with designated charging bases so they can come and go. The management knows exactly where these buses can go, where they can come from, and manage those through some software. No engine oil, no fuel systems, no turbos, no after treatment, no DPR or DEF systems. The state and federal funding offsets the current high cost of these buses and the chargers, the regenerative braking, 100% zero emission, reduced noise pollution, which is something that we really try to promote, especially with our younger students. And the safe vehicle school transportation is just a good fit. Some of the disadvantages, obviously the higher price cost of the electric buses. The range in the winter months can be deterred a little bit with an 8 to 10% decrease, but however, still manageable to be able to run that route, just not getting that high end range that we have seen, which is that 150-mile range on a full charge, which is definitely a receptive and doable school bus in the industry. Charging infrastructure, cost, how do you place that? We have come so far since 2019 with that in the transportation, school bus transportation industry. Kind of a really good fit for us now as far as what our projects and how we promote and sell this project, and not only just for us, but in the entire school bus industry. It seems to be a workable product for any manufacturer to be able to put these out in place. The biggest key I think we share with people is it's not for everybody. It's not for all routes. It's not for all school districts. You gotta be a right fit for us. And even moving forward, if the funding opportunities dissipate or get reduced, in a 10-year project for us, as we look long term in the school bus industry, electric works. But again, you've got to manage it. You've got to want it. You've got to believe in it. And then if not, we fall back onto the diesel engine, as I mentioned, is a key component for us in the school bus industry, and not just for Thomas built buses, but for all manufacturers in the state as well as across the country. Next slide. And I think that Any questions or comments that I can answer, I'd be more than happy. My contact information is provided as well. If anyone has any questions or comments, be more than happy to either offer that now or we can do that at a later time. Thank you
Hey,
very
Dave.
much, and thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, Dave, thank you so much. Great information. We had a couple of questions that had come up in the past. Can you talk a little bit about the tariffs, the current tariffs and potential future tariffs, how it might affect school corporations?
Yeah, there's a lot of unknown. Obviously, we have been hit with some tariffs. All manufacturers have been designated from some federal tariffs here in the last 30 to 60 days. Not only that, but we've had price increases in the last 30, 60 days. Tariffs are we have been told to apply some tariffs to our school buses. With the consideration that they could be removed in 2026 or they could be increased in 2026. But it does affect budgets. It affects bus replacements, no matter what brand you're purchasing for a school corporation to try to budget because they have a bus replacement already in place. Some schools have a 3, 4, 5 year bus replacement that can be altered or increased, but as we know, that all is based off of a tax revenue that comes into schools. So a lot of unknown. We play a production game as well with the tariffs to know if we order today and that bus is going to be a 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 month process of getting that bus, what that could do to the future or what that could do to the future bus replacement cost of a school corporation. Um, we are dealing with things that we have not seen. We are dealing with things that we didn't deal with in previous years. So it takes a lot of communication. It takes a lot of coordination. Um, we want to make sure that at the end result is that the customer gets the product that they want for the price that they agreed upon, and that has been a juggle for most manufacturers, most dealerships, in most brands. So we keep a close eye on that, but it does make a difference. It decreases the amount of buses that schools can purchase. It decreases some of the specifications that schools try to pick or choose for their application. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure that a bus gets delivered as a safe bus because, as we all know, they haul the most precious cargo that's in the transportation world. So we hate to see cost affect safety, and we try to really deter away from any of the safety part of that. And the tariffs play a big role into that, Carl.
Great, thank you. Thanks for that update, Dave. Um, and Rick, we'll get to that question here shortly. With we have the US EPA on the line here. So, and I think there is a question from George. I don't have access to that. Oh, here we go. I've got it. What's the benefit of multiple fuel engines, Dave? Is it just flexibility in fueling options, or are there emission savings like plug-in electric vehicles that
It,
from Amanda?
yeah, good question. Diesel, I will tell you, has the longevity, has the history. It has great total cost of ownership. Um, it doesn't match the total cost of ownership of electric. Um, Owning an electric school bus is about a third of a cost of anything that's on the market. However, the initial first cost of an electric bus is very huge in the cost of that commitment to that. Um, to have the flexibility, yes, a school can choose. A school can choose whether we want to go with a diesel platform, a propane, or an electric. There is in our business, our company, we feel the electric is by far best total cost of ownership, even with the charger and the infrastructure. It works. However, if you can't fit that into your bus replacement, you don't get, even with no funding, it works. It's just you got to look at the long term 10-year project. So it becomes choice, it becomes flexibility, it becomes what history has shown us, which is the diesel is, I don't want to say more bang for your buck, but it is the one that works for the majority in the country as well as the state of Indiana. Hopefully that answers your question.
Sure. We have another question, Dave. Could you speak about the charging system? Are they ever networked? Are any wireless charging systems compatible with these vehicles?
The charging systems, we do have them on where they are Wi-Fi capabilities. We have a Synop software system that we use to manage those buses. We can manage the chargers from that system. We can get diagnostics from our telematics that are on the buses. There's a lot that goes into a complete package. The charging systems are way more advanced than they were in 2019 when we started looking at them. We've honed in on what works for our bus, what works for us, what is manageable for the school corporation, what is cost efficient for the school corporation as well. So there's a lot of telematics, a lot of Wi-Fi capabilities where you can set just basically at your laptop, manage your buses, manage your chargers, and still be able to have that hands-on feel as we continue to grow in the electrification. Things continue to advance and get better as we go.
Sure. No, that's good information, Dave. Thank you. And we have one more question. Can you talk about the recommended charger for the EV bus? Is it a standard level 280 amp charger or a DC fast charger?
Our Thomas built bus is a DC fast charge. We feel that gets you more efficiency. It is able to charge in a 2 or 3 hour period from that 0 to 10% up to 100. It takes away the anxiety of in between the routes for our electric school bus, where we're able to charge in between routes in a 2 or 3 hour period, get that bus back to 100% to where that driver has no worry about the charge factor. The ACs we don't feel are good on the battery life expectancy. There are cycles with the batteries. We just feel on the Thomas end of it, which we feel we have a very good technology, very good engineered built bus. That's why we choose to go with the DC fast charge. There are brands out there. If you want to reach out to me, I can share some brands with you that we feel are more serviceability as well as cost efficient and as well as dependable and reliable for the customer. There are thousands of chargers out there. I would caution you to do your research. Reach out to us. We'll share what we know. We are not perfect. We don't feel we have the total correct answer, but we do have a good product on the platform today, which has taken a lot of time and a lot of effort to get to that. So hopefully that takes care of that question.
That's great. So thank you, Dave. Why don't we, if you have further questions, please put those in the chat. And I'd like to introduce Mr. Tony Maeda from US EPA, who will give us an update on things that are going on nationally and here in the Midwest. Tony?
Sorry, let me get my my microphone going. Thank you. I want to really quickly give folks, I don't have any slides, but I want to give folks a kind of update on the lay of the land of the funding programs that we have going. And I did see in the chat a question about the Clean Heavy Duty Vehicles program. So all those, there was about $1 billion in that program. Nearly all of it was allocated out to grantees, applicants who are now grantees. And those grantees are continuing their work under their awarded work plans for that program. We don't envision another RFP under the Clean Heavy Duty Vehicles program, only because the majority of that money was spent. We haven't heard anything from EPA headquarters on whether there will be another round. I'm not anticipating it. The current grantees are all moving forward with their plans as they've been approved. We've had a couple of them back out, drop out for various reasons. Sometimes fleets get stale Sometimes, conditions change on the ground. Sometimes grantees, just decide they ultimately don't want to continue with the project. So we got a couple of those, drop out, but largely they're all ongoing. So hopefully that answers your question there. I will say for the Clean School Bus program, there's a couple updates that are not new to folks who have been listening to these calls and have been maybe plugged into the Midwest Clean Diesel Initiative Group 2, because we've been saying this for the last few months. So bottom line is not a lot has changed. The 2022 rebates, those rebate selectees have largely closed out and completed their work. So they've had their older buses either scrapped or sold or donated, and they purchased the new buses and they've been operating them. And as part of the new administration's oversight initiative, ERG is a contractor that EPA has, and so they've been going around and they're conducting site visits, and they're sort of like like a desk audit sort of thing where they're checking paperwork just to make sure that what has been submitted to EPA is verified by that contractor. Some EPA folks, Carter, I think, is out on one of them right now, I think. But EPA staff are going to be joining them on some of these site visits, just maybe more for conversational and moral support as opposed to doing the actual audit, which is being done literally on an iPad, and then only one person has the iPad, which is why that is. So those 2022 folks should, if you haven't already, you'll be receiving an email from the contractor, the ERG folks, on that. So basically, I've attended a few of those. They're fine. If there's documentation that isn't available, these happened before the school year started, the ones that I've been on, and so some documentation wasn't able to be pulled out of a drawer in time, and so those things can be followed up on. But if you do get an email and you're one of those 2022 selectees, there will be a very detailed list of what they're looking for. So none of it will be a surprise. It'll be scheduled. They won't just show up. Again, it's all going to be not telegraphed, but planned beforehand, so it won't be shocking to you. The 2023 rebates and 2023 grants are ongoing for Clean School Bus. We have no real updates there. The real ball that's up in the air that still has to land is the 2024 Clean School Bus rebates. So those folks had applied for them. The random number generator that does the selection process. I'm not using quotes on that. They're not scare quotes. It's a random number, so it's not it's not like the ranking or any of that. But the random selection process took place. So those applications have been ranked and scored, and that's there. But we have no word quite yet on if or when those 2024 rebates will be announced. We haven't heard no though, so that the ball is still up in the air, and it could be. And I think for anybody who might be on today who's applied for the 2024 rebates, just stay tuned is what I would say. You'll hear something either way eventually, and as soon as you hear that, we'll let you all know. And the other thing is that if the rebates are actually awarded, maybe take a look at your current vehicles, your current buses that you had in the application. Make sure that those are still being used, because you wait a couple of weeks, you wait a couple of months, things kind of get stale. Things can change, and like a bus might have broken down, or you might have, have gone on and started changing your fleet over with plans you might have already had. And so there isn't, if these do get awarded, and if there need to be, pre-vehicle swaps or amendments, that is something that can be done. So I would just basically say, stay tuned, keep an eye on your fleet, and have in the back of your mind, if you do need to have any vehicle changes, if you do get awarded, be prepared for that too. And then the last thing is the 2025 Clean School Bus program. There's probably not going to be one. So it's basically the first $4 billion of the, it's $1 billion a year over 5 years. We don't think that we're going to see that last $1 billion, but that fourth cohort of $1 billion is still up in the air, and then the rest of it is being spent and being ensured that, you know, there's no waste, fraud, or abuse taking place with any of that. I would recommend folks, you know, keep an eye out with this group, you know, because any news will be passed through here. And, you know, I would be shocked if I hear anything before anybody else. I think we'll all probably hear it at the same time. That's how it's kind of been lately. There's one other funding source I want to talk about, and it's the Diesel Emission Reduction Act, the DERA program, and that funding has been around since 2008. And that funding has been, the legislation for that funding was written in 2005. So this is a program that's long-standing. School buses are eligible as part of that program, but with DERA, the funding is just different. So if you're replacing a diesel, it's 25% of the cost of that replacement will be funded by EPA, and then 75% of that cost will be, you know, a cost share. And if you go to an alt fuel like a propane bus, you know, or CNG, you'll have it'll be 35% of that cost. And if you choose to do an electric replacement, then it'd be 45% of the cost of the bus and the charger. The thing is, though, with the DERA program, unlike the Clean School Bus program, every single older vehicle will have to be scrapped. With the Clean School Bus program, 2011 and newer, you can sell or donate, you know, but everything with DERA, it's a fleet turnover program. So the old vehicles will have to be scrapped. And I will also add, I know this is a school bus call, but the DERA program does have a wider array of vehicles, on-road, non-road, and you know, vehicles and equipment. So it's class 5 through class 8 heavy duty on-roads, medium and heavy duty on-roads, and then non-road vehicles and equipment. The one bit of news on DERA is that the last we've heard is that there's a reauthorization for DERA there's bills in the House and the Senate. And I think the Senate has proposed $90 million a year, and the House has $60 million a year. Don't quote me on that. It could be reversed, but I think it's the Senate has 90 and the House is 60. Historically, we've seen about $100 million proposed through Congress. The last 3 presidential proposed budgets zeroed out DERA, and then Congress came back in and put money in. And so we're seeing that sort of happen, you know, right now. The dynamic is different because this year Congress has sort of given a lot of their power of the purse away. So we'll see what happens with DERA, but right now it's looking, you know, maybe. So stay tuned for all that. Hopefully we'll have more for you, you know, in the next month when Carter's back, and maybe we'll have some movement on some of these things. And I spoke a lot, but sorry, that's all the updates I have. If there's any questions for folks.
No, Tony, thank you so much for that update. Just to reiterate what you said, we did put in some Clean School Bus rebates, and we did get notification actually yesterday about reviewing information, and more details will be provided when a conclusion is reached. So
awesome. That's for 2024?
Yes, that's what
awesome.
We got. Yes, yeah, so I wanted to, we put in several rebate applications for a variety of communities, community school corporations here. So I just wanted to let you know that. So awesome. I don't know if anybody has any questions. Let me just check this out.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any in the chat. It's more like sort of conversation around the electric buses. And again, you know, with our Clean School Bus program, electric and alt fuel buses are eligible under that program.
Yep. So Tony, thank you so much for that update. And then Sean, would you, Sean Seals from the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, also the co-chair of the Indiana Clean School Bus Coalition. So Sean, if you're there, please provide your update, please.
Alrighty, I am here. So thanks, Carl. Thanks also, Tony, for sharing kind of the federal perspective on some of these grants. I think one of the things that has been asked about quite a bit as it relates to the state of Indiana is that Clean Heavy Duty Vehicles grant. And we do have, through that program, we did have 4 school systems that were interested in moving forward with electric school buses. The timely update on that is that I am in the process of getting the grant agreements for those 4 school systems through our Office of Legal Counsel. Once those are formally approved, then we start down the process of electronic signatures. So I expect those to be to and hopefully through our Office of Legal Counsel, ideally by the end of this week. We'll see how that all goes. And then Tony also alluded to DERA, the Diesel Emission Reduction Act piece. While we did close out our 2025 DeSWISE Indiana program that was DERA funded, and we did not have any school systems apply for funding from the program in that last round, if or when the EPA is able to release additional funding, obviously through DeSWISE Indiana, you will be able to apply for those funds. And then lastly, as it relates to funding, I will simply remind everyone that we still have the Indiana Volkswagen Mitigation Trust Program. There are a few dollars still remaining in that program, and ideally later this year we will be putting out, I plan to push out an RFP that will be pretty wide ranging. It'll be open to on-road, non-road, and everything, as opposed to being overly selective. So for the purposes of school bus entities, there will be additional funding through the Volkswagen component a little later this year. And that's really all I have in the form of updates. Take any questions if there are any.
No, thank you, Sean. Exciting news. Again, I think one of the things that we will we will do once that funding announcement is made by the state and Sean, we will do in collaboration a webinar so you can get more information. But again, some of the things that are upcoming through the Drive Clean Indiana activities are listed here on the screen. And we've got a busy month. Obviously, National Drive Electric Month starts in September and goes through October. So there's a plethora of opportunities to learn about some of the electric vehicles across the state. And so we'll be participating with a variety of other organizations, and look forward to seeing you some of that and learning about some of the new electric vehicles that are currently available in our state. So we will have booths at these events. We'll have information on the current status of electric vehicles in our state, and then also some of the new locations that Sean alluded to through the Go EV Indiana program, where new stations are being located here throughout the state through the VW mitigation dollars. So next slide, Elise, please. So again, I just want to bring to your attention some of the things that we're planning. We are planning 2026. Hard to believe we're in the third quarter of 25, but we're anticipating a wonderful 2026. So I just want to get this on your calendar. We've been hosting with our board and with our different stakeholders at the National Truck Equipment Association. We are our spring kickoff will be held March 11th, 2026 at the JW Marriott. It's a breakfast. We've had wonderful speakers, not only from our state, but also from the Indianapolis 500, and we're going to continue with that trend. But just something to put on your calendar. It's a kickoff. We'll have many of the people that you've heard speak today will be at this event, and so it's just an opportunity to learn about some of the upcoming things in 2026. Next slide, please. So again, on behalf of all of our speakers, I just want to thank Dave, Tony, and Sean again for all the great work that you're doing in our great Hoosier state. And again, if you have any questions on any of the things, we will be we're currently working on some case studies on school buses. And so we're going to be featuring some of the case studies. And again, we want you to network with other school systems, other folks, other charging providers, stuff like that. Propane buses, compressed natural gas buses, gasoline buses. We want to be that resource. So if there's things that you're looking for that you need information on, please reach out to us. And again, we're looking at potentially announcing here in September some additional things that we're going to be doing next year in the fall with our Indiana Clean School Bus and Drive Clean Indiana. So on behalf of everyone on the call today, I wish you a happy Labor Day and look forward to seeing you on our next call. We will have more information on when our next call is coming out shortly. So again, everyone, thank you. Happy Labor Day, and thanks for all that participated. Bye-bye.